Welcome aboard, viewers, to yet another Battlefield 4 in-depth weapon analysis of yet, surprise, surprise, another support class weapon, the M249. Gentlemen, ladies, I will be giving more attention to other weapons outside the support class here in the future, but with support class seeing such a significant buff in Battlefield 4, I certainly want to give it a lot of attention. And the M249, many of you are probably wondering why I'm finally getting around to reviewing this weapon. Windshield, this weapon's been out forever. This is yesterday's news. Well, guys, this is a weapon, like many in Battlefield 4, that initially I pick it up and I have initial impressions, strong initial impressions about it. And this is a weapon I did not like initially. I felt like it had too much recoil. It goes along with all the common things people say about support class in general, the criticisms out there, and this weapon was no exception. Oh yeah, the support class is too hard to use, too much recoil, you can't hit anything, the accuracy's bad. I just don't like it, and that's a general synopsis, and I shared that with many of you out there. This is not a noob weapon. It's taken a long time to understand it. And yes, it is now my #1 weapon. It's taken 14 hours of gameplay and a lot of kills, 1,600 kills, to feel like I've finally understood this weapon, and it has replaced my former glory of the QBB-95. I'll talk about that here in a moment, but let's dive into the stats. Compare this to assault weapon with the same fire rate, 800 rounds per minute. Let's compare it to the M16A4. Look at the aiming down sight accuracy of the M249, 0.3 compared to 0.2 with an M16A4. That's pretty impressive. Look at the recoil decrease per shot is 12 compared to 18 with the assault weapon. So it's statistically, yet again, another support class weapon that has the accuracy of assault weapons. That's pretty impressive. Now compare this weapon to its brother, the MG4. There's two reasons why the M249 is better than the MG4. It has less vertical recoil, about 20% less. It has 25% less recoil to the right, but 50% more recoil left. That's a consideration. Yes, I know, guys. It's my new flavor of the month. I can hear it now. Windshield, you're always just, every other day you're talking about this new best gun. I'm not saying it's the best gun, guys. I'm not saying it's my favorite gun, but it's my most used gun at this point in time. And as you've seen through a trend through my videos, and get turned on, son. Oh, no, no, no. As you've seen through my videos, I just don't stick to one gun. Not like the Battlefield 3 guys out there that ran with M16A3 or super try-hard Ace 23 all the time in Battlefield 4 or Ace 21. It's like, I know those weapons out there are the trending weapons, but I'd really try to understand what varying weapons have to bring to the battlefield, because all weapons have their strengths and weaknesses. I just can't say that one gun out there is a blanket best gun in the game all the time. Now let's check this out. Let me show you what this weapon can do. Let's get to the meat of this video. 175 meters. You see that blue mark? I'm not sure if that's a result of the patch, but I think that's roughly the range of this shot. I just took that guy out at that range. Now to show you that that wasn't a fluke, I'm going to do it one more time. There it is again, 168 meters. Bear in mind I got suppressor on this weapon, so it's halving my bullet velocity to roughly 300 meters per second. So I just pulled it off there yet again. A staggering capability. Now to show you again, it's not a fluke. I'm throwing my magnifier on here. The HVT target is popped up here. It's showing, I guess, about roughly 100 meters, 93 meters. Not only going to take out the HVT target, I'm going to take out the target behind him as well. Again, no other weapon in the game is really capable of delivering that kind of firepower, sustained firepower, other than an LMG. And I'm not here to toot the LMG horn, guys. You know what I feel about LMG class, support class in general. I'm just here to demonstrate what this weapon's capable of doing, and it is capable of pulling off those long-range shots, just like the LSAT is. And I still believe the LSAT. If you guys are looking to get into support class, if you're a little bi-curious about the support class, or maybe trying it out, try out the LSAT. And look at that. Love 69, the next HVT target that takes me out with the knife. I just fail. I don't know about you guys. I fail every time I even consider knifing somebody. Maybe that's going back from my Battlefield 3 troll days, where I welcome the trolling to pursue me for my DICE approved dog tag, which, by the way, now, thankfully, we have that nice emblem there on our weapons here in PlayStation 4. Finally, after the patch, they've addressed that, but I feel like I'm just epic fail anytime I try to knife. Now, here's a flashbang. I'm going to be talking about this more in the future, but should there not be some kind of dog tag or trophy for an HVT target, eliminating an HVT target, I thought that was worth mentioning there. And I was kind of chuckling when I pulled that one off. But again, here I am calling the shot at range. This weapon, it's absolute nightmare for anybody running on quad bikes, anybody in Jeeps, boats, anybody foolish enough to parachute in, and it reaches out and touches you when a lot further than you think when you're trying to parachute in on somebody. It feels to me like the sustained fire accuracy of this weapon is definitely worth mentioning as one of its strongest proponents for this weapon, arguments for this weapon. However, there's a technique to it, and that's why it's taken me so long to understand this weapon. You just don't think with this kind of accuracy, oh, it's got assault rifle accuracy, I'll just go around and I'll hold down the fire button, close my eyes, and let the weapon do the rest of the work. No, it doesn't work like that, and that's why it's taken so much time for me to understand. It's not just like a burst fire I use it with this weapon, and it's difficult for me to explain this, to convey this, particularly to you guys on PC, because on PlayStation 4, and a lot of us hate this, but our fire button is now on the R2 trigger, which is like a curved trigger. It's an ergonomic trigger, and it has a significant amount of play in it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's a sweet spot in that trigger that I find it's not tapping it, it's not fully depressing it, but there's just an ever so slightly zone in that trigger pull where I just kind of feather this zone and pulling it in just a few millimeters, and then I reapply it and I kind of feather that fire mode. And to me, it seems like whenever I do that, even a close quarters combat, that I can really drop guys fairly quickly with this weapon. But if I just mash it and go full auto with it, I can have a guy 5 feet in front of me, and it seems like my bullets count for little to nothing, and that time usually assault players are dropping me. So this weapon, you have to be smart about it. You just can't think you can run around and with 200 rounds of magazine just drop the entire team on a side flank, which I'm going to demonstrate here in a moment. You know what you do when you're dealing with gobs of players in front of you. You just can't mash the full auto button and think that your bullets are going to count. You have to kind of feather the fire mode in a different manner than you have to master, is what I'm saying. It takes time to understand this weapon, and it's really a strange weapon. I just don't know how to convey it any other way. Compared to the MG4, I like this weapon more than the MG4, but I just can't quite put my finger on why. I really can't. I've gotten lots of kills with the MG4. It's a great weapon. It's very similar to this weapon statistically, but I just feel like having a little bit of less recoil, that this weapon is just better, and just having that just little less vertical recoil, a little less right recoil, but again 50% more left pull is a consideration. This weapon to me just does a little bit better than the MG4, particularly at close range. I'm not sure why the bullets discount for something better. Now, I have always run a suppressor on this weapon. The reason why is I cannot ditch the suppressor, particularly on this weapon. This weapon is capable of dropping 5-6 guys without even thinking about it, and there's just no replacement for having the stealth capability. I mean, at some point in time when you're shooting them in the back or on the side, you're on a flank, at some point in time somebody's going to be smart enough to look at their mini-map and realize that they're getting team wiped to turn around and kill you. So having that suppressor on just gives you just more time to drop those enemies, because you just simply cannot put 4 bullets into 5 guys, 4 bullets into each player thinking that nobody's going to notice. At some point in time, you got to have, they'll realize it. Having the suppressor is just integral to your success, and I really don't like suppressors, but you just have to have them, particularly with many players that we have out there. Ideally, the ideal loadout for this weapon, I think a compensator is a great complement to this weapon. I always run it with potato grip, so throwing a compensator on there will help mitigate that side-to-side recoil and just turn this thing into an absolute monster for accuracy. A heavy barrel, I mean, I'm still feeling out heavy barrels with this weapon. It's not a bad loadout, but certainly a compensator you could if you really feel aggressive out there, throw that on, you'll be good to go. So okay, here's what I want to talk about. Team flanks, you've seen it time and time again. This is what support class weapons are here for, but again, you got to be smart about it. You just can't go in there thinking you can drop the whole team in front of you without any kind of complications. There's always a catch. Again, suppressor still is helping my longevity, but you still have to have a trick up your sleeve, and this is something we'll talk about more in the future. What do you do right here? Again, Well, I'm going to go and engage a couple of these guys and kind of soften them up a little bit, but I just can't say you're expecting to drop all these guys. So now I'm going to disorient them with a flashbang. So now those guys are blinded. You can see one guy just over here in a corner crying. He's clueless. He finally shakes it off, turns around, gets back up here, starts spamming his E320s again like you always see on Metro, and has no clue of what just happened to him. So, you know, little stuff like that, you know, as a support class player, you can't just think you're invulnerable. You got to keep the enemy guessing, and smoke, flashbangs, whatever, what have you, to kind of give yourself that time advantage is situations like that, what you got to do. So, and speaking of the MG4, there's a guy dropping me. So I'm going to wrap it up here with the clip where I'm just getting a quick 1,000 points here on the objective. You know, sustained fire. Again, spend some time on this weapon, guys. It's not something that you can just pick up. I think it's one of the more advanced support class weapons to understand. But if you can truly appreciate what this weapon has to offer, if you put some time into it, this or the MG4, I'm not saying this is frankly better than the MG4, but that's just my personal preference. I think that's just what it boils down to. But give this weapon some thought. I mean, again, consider those stats I showed you in the beginning between this and the M16A4. The aiming down sight accuracy is quite impressive of this weapon. And remember those long range shots I showed you. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll have more content to come.